The courtroom is often regarded as a solemn space, where justice is served with a stern and unwavering demeanor. However, there are instances when the gravity of a case becomes too overwhelming, and the judges cannot help but cry. These are 5 cases of judges being reduced to tears. 1. Darrell Brooks. Darrell Brooks, convicted in the Waukesha Christmas parade attack, recently received sentencing. Brooks, age 40, was found guilty of killing 6 people and injuring numerous others on November 21, 2021. Judge Jennifer Doro emotionally addressed the victims' families before imposing consecutive life sentences without parole for each of the 6 individuals slain during the tragic incident where he drove his SUV through the parade route. Judge Doro emphasized the devastation caused by Brooks, describing the path of destruction, chaos, death, injury, confusion, and panic. She expressed the sentiment that no one is safe from Brooks, stating that the community can only be secure with him behind bars for life due to his violent and criminal conduct. Additional sentencing included 17.5 years for each of the 61 counts of recklessly endangering safety. Each count carried a maximum sentence of 12.5 years, with an additional 5 years for an enhancer, resulting in consecutive convictions. Brooks also received 6 consecutive sentences of 25 years each for hit and run resulting in death, and 2 6-year sentences for felony counts of bail jumping, concurrent with each other but consecutive to the other charges. The verdict, delivered by the jury on October 26, 2022, found Brooks guilty of first-degree intentional homicide in count 1. Despite multiple interruptions during court proceedings, the judge accepted the verdicts and confirmed Brooks's satisfaction with the polling of the jurors. Brooks, who had been released from jail less than 2 weeks before the parade attack on a domestic hurt case, received the maximum sentence of 9 months for battery against his ex-girlfriend, Erica Patterson. This sentence is also consecutive to the other sentences. The proceedings faced interruptions due to a phone threat and Brooks's behavior. Security measures were heightened after a public shooting threat, and the hearing resumed after addressing these concerns. Brooks continued to exhibit disruptive behavior during the trial and sentencing, choosing to represent himself despite overwhelming evidence against him. His previous plea of not guilty by insanity was withdrawn, and public defenders withdrew from the case. Prosecutors rejected claims of mental incompetence, attributing Brooks's actions to attempts to disrupt the proceedings. 2. Larissa and Christopher Rodriguez. During the sentencing in the Common Pleas Court, Judge Nancy Margaret Russo, emotionally affected, broke down in tears for the first time in her 22-year career. She expressed the difficulty of the case involving Larissa Rodriguez and her boyfriend Christopher, who were sentenced for their involvement in the passing and backyard burial of their 5-year-old special needs child, Jordan. The judge highlighted the lack of sufficient consideration given to such cases and commended both the state and the defense for their challenging roles. The Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office couldn't determine Jordan's exact cause of passing, but officially ruled it as a homicide. Evidence suggested prior harm to the child, with fractures in his wrist and ribs. Larissa and Christopher Rodriguez pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter, felonious assault, child endangering, and gross misconduct of a corpse, avoiding a potential life sentence. Larissa had also been sentenced to 6 years for illegal food stamp sales. Body camera footage revealed neglect in the Rodriguez home. Larissa received a 25-year prison sentence without parole, while Christopher received the maximum of 28 years. Larissa gave birth to her 10th child while awaiting trial, and temporary emergency custody was granted to Cuyahoga County Children and Family Services. 2 of Rodriguez's children were permanently removed before Jordan's case, and 2 others live with their fathers. 3. Terry J. McFadden. In the case involving Terry J. McFadden, a 70-year-old man from Grandview Heights, the judge, Julie M. Lynch, openly showed her emotions as she sentenced him to 22 years for raping 2 girls at a daycare operated by him and his wife in their home. McFadden had previously admitted guilt to 2 counts of causing physical harm for the attacks on the sisters, aged 4 and 6, who disclosed the disturbing acts to their parents in April 2019. Franklin County Common Pleas Judge Julie M. Lynch imposed the sentence after the victims' parents delivered extensive statements in court. McFadden and his wife Carol were co-owners of the daycare located in the 700 block of Gladden Avenue. Assistant Prosecutor William Walton, referring to a civil lawsuit filed by the parents against the McFaddens, stated that the physical attacks commenced when Mr. McFadden took on a more active role in operating the daycare in mid-2017. The acts involved McFadden repeatedly touching the girls' private areas, as detailed in the lawsuit. McFadden admitted to these acts during an interview with the Grandview Heights police. Not eligible for early release, if he lives long enough to be released from prison, McFadden will be obligated to register as an offender every 90 days for the remainder of his life. The judge expressed frustration with cases involving adults convicted or pleading guilty to sexually oriented child victim offenses, designating McFadden as a Tier 3 registrant. The judge highlighted the immense struggles faced by parents when such abuses occur at a daycare, emphasizing the vulnerability of the children involved, who are just steps away from being babies. "You can't even know what damages you've done," the judge exclaimed. McFadden's admission to sexually abusing a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old underscored the profound damages inflicted on these young victims. 4. Bo Dukes. In connection to the Tara Grinstead case, Bo Dukes was sentenced in Wilcox County Superior Court, following a 4-day trial that resulted in a guilty verdict. Judge Robert Chastain Jr. handed down the maximum sentence of 25 years to Dukes for charges related to lying to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation and concealing Grinstead's manslaughter. Dukes was convicted on 4 charges in Wilcox County, including 2 counts of making false statements, 1 count of hindering apprehension or punishment of a criminal, and 1 count of concealing the passing of another individual. During the court appearance, Dukes, wearing an orange jail uniform, faced Tara Grinstead's stepmom, Connie Grinstead, who spoke emotionally at the hearing. Connie highlighted the impact on her family, mentioning the difficulties they faced during the search for Tara. Details emerged during the hearing about Dukes loading truckloads of wood onto Tara's body and burning it to ashes. Dixie Hudson, Dukes' mother, acknowledged her son's issues, but appealed for rehabilitation. The defense argued for a 12-year sentence, citing Dukes' military service and his cooperation with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation in February 2017. Dukes, struggling with emotion, spoke for himself at the hearing, expressing remorse for his actions and admitting his responsibility. He sought forgiveness from the Grinstead family, apologized to those wrongly accused during the investigations, and extended apologies to his mother and girlfriend, Brooke Sheridan. Despite these pleas, Rigby, representing the state, urged the judge to impose the maximum sentence of 25 years for each count, emphasizing Dukes' failure to come forward during the investigations. The judge acknowledged Dukes' military service, but pointed out his conviction for stealing $150,000 from the Army. The judge emphasized that Dukes had multiple opportunities to disclose information about Tara, but chose not to, leading to a valid and appropriate punishment. The judge concluded by highlighting the inconsistency between a good military record and a felony conviction, stating that despite military service, Dukes continued to violate the law. 5. David Meyer. An emotionally distressed judge struggled to contain his rage and sorrow while delivering a 10-year prison sentence for drunk driving. Judge Atkinson sentenced David Meyer, 47, to a decade behind bars due to a drunk driving incident on August 17, 2017, which resulted in the tragic deaths of 2 individuals. According to court records, Meyer's blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit when his vehicle crossed the center line and collided with Rebecca Pennenberg, 44, and Rayla Pennenberg, 18, as they walked in Lawrence, Wisconsin. Both lost their lives in the crash. Meyer had previously pleaded no contest to 2 counts of homicide by the use of a vehicle with a prohibited alcohol concentration. In a brief statement to the court, he expressed remorse for his actions, acknowledging the devastating impact of drunk driving on families, even though he had no personal connection to the victim's family. The judge, visibly moved, remarked on the frequency of such cases and the widespread suffering caused by drunk driving. Which of these cases did you find the most gut-wrenching? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one.